Ladies and gentlemen, welcome into my official college football bowl game rankings. Of course, guys, I did this before all of the bowls took place. Now, after knowing what we know, judging all of the games, what are my best bowl games? What are my worst bowl games? This is a full ranking, 41-1. And guys, I'll be honest, some of these aren't going to really make a lot of sense. They're just my personal opinion. I'll go through it and I'll explain everything. But the top 5 should really be the consensus top 5 according to pretty much everyone, because there were several unbelievable bowl games this season. But guys, it's rapid fire at 41. I said it from the beginning. Utah State, they're simply terrible. They should have never been in a bowl. Memphis easily beats them 38-10. To make matters worse, Memphis really wasn't that good this year either. This game was just horrible. I knew it was going to be terrible. I said to take Memphis minus the 10, and they rewarded me. You've got this should have been 41. Louisville, Cincinnati, 24-7. It was a corpse. This bowl should be nicknamed the Corpse Bowl. I remember seeing this at 11 a.m. Fenway Park. There were 40 people there. You got Luke Fickell gone. You've got Louisville going through a coaching transition. You've got Cincinnati losing players in the portal. Just a terrible football game, folks. 2 backup QBs playing. Malik Cunningham opting out. What's going on? Horrible, horrible. Troy 18, UTSA 12. How do you win a game with 150 yards of total offense, folks? Come on with Troy. I am so sick of hearing about Troy football. Yes, I said to take UTSA minus 2 because I trusted their offense, and I said, listen, Troy has such a bad offense, they're not going to be able to keep up. And then Troy only has 150 yards of offense, but they win by 6 points. How does that make sense, folks? Come on. 38, LSU. I mean, this, honestly, you could easily put this one at 41. The reason I moved it up, the Cheez-It. So apparently, and I don't like this, but did you guys notice Cheez-It now sponsors 2 different bowls? They obviously sponsor the Cheez-It Bowl and they sponsor the Citrus Bowl. But like there was a Cheez-It mascot that was dancing with the LSU players, and it was really uplifting and motivating. So I really liked that. So, I'm not going to put this last, but Purdue, the coaching situation, losing Jeff Brom, Aiden O'Connell not playing, everyone opting out. It was a total mismatch. LSU entered the game like as 17-point favorites or 15-point favorites or whatever, and it's just an annihilation, 63-7. Oregon State crushes Florida. Once again, Florida they simply don't show up in these bowl games. And by not showing up, I mean they don't even play. I mean, we've seen this multiple times with Florida University, players opting out left and right. Anthony Richardson, their best offensive lineman, their best defensive lineman, all opt out. Oregon State, I give credit to them for having a good season. They win this game easily. They're going to finish ranked. Good for them. Marshall 28, UConn 14. It was fun to see UConn in a bowl, but this game was just pretty boring. I will say it was kind of weird. UConn actually outgained Marshall in this game. Not by a lot, but they did outgain Marshall. I said, listen, take Marshall minus the 10. And folks, what do you know? I was proven right on that. Air Force 30, Baylor 15. This was one of the calls of the year. I said I'll take Air Force plus the 6, plus the 4, whatever. It really felt like Baylor was not motivated to play in the Armed Forces Bowl at all. They didn't want to face that run-first, run-heavy offense that Air Force had. And really just not a good game. The whole second half was very boring. Air Force ends up winning. New Mexico State beats Bowling Green 24-19. All these games are kind of similar. I mean, I guess this was a good game. The big story in this one, Bowling Green's starting quarterback gets knocked out of the game early in the first quarter, which really hurt them. They actually have a decent quarterback, so if he would have played, I think Bowling Green wins this game outright. Wake Forest beats Missouri 27-17. So Missouri lost their number one wide receiver to the transfer portal before this game, and I think it just absolutely killed them. Good for Wake Forest. Good for Sam Hartman for setting that record. But overall, also, how about Sam Hartman going to Notre Dame now? That should be fun. Maryland, oh my God. Maryland 16, NC State 12. You could make an argument this should have been 41. This should have been the worst bowl game. So guys, I remember this game. It was a noon start time. I was doing like 5 different things. I think I recorded a video. I come back to the game. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and there's 6 minutes left in the second quarter, and the score is 10-9. What is taking so long to finish this game? These teams, I've never seen anything like it. This game lasted 5 hours. It was 16-12. I mean, it would not end. If you've seen this game, you remember it is just like, what is going on? These teams are not scoring. Why is this game lasting until 2023? Unbelievable. Moving on to 31, UAB beats Miami of Ohio. Guys, what a letdown this was. So I said we like UAB to cover the spread. UAB's best player, possibly one of the best running backs in the nation, is a late opt-out. DeWayne McBride for the draft. Nobody knew it. He opts out the day of the Bahamas Bowl, but it is a close game. The first bowl of the season. You got to give him credit there. Middle Tennessee State beats San Diego State in a shocking upset. Everyone was in on San Diego State. They went to -7. You know what? We always like a bowl game upset. Eastern Michigan, another great call here. They win outright, 41-27. We loved them plus the 3. I said they were my MAC upset pick, and they beat a San Jose State team who had been bad in the second half very easily. Wisconsin beats Oklahoma State 24-17. We loved Wisconsin. But guys, really, the word, like, guaranteed, that word, it's just so disgusting to look at. It's just ugly. It doesn't even look like what it means. Guaranteed. I don't like that word. And really, this game, it guaranteed we were going to see really bad offense because we had both quarterbacks leave for the portal. We've got coaching situations with Luke Fickell coming in. Oklahoma State looks like a dead program. Wisconsin ends up winning that game by 7. Mississippi State beats Illinois 19-10. It's always sad when a team that's not used to having success makes a good bowl game and then all of their players opt out. That's what happened to Illinois. That's all I can say about that game. Duke beats UCF 30-13. UCF is a corpse at this point. They had opt-outs. Their quarterback is injured basically every other play. But I do give Duke credit for a major bounce-back season. Unbelievable job by Duke to come back there and have a really good season. East Carolina crushes Coastal Carolina 53-29. If you like offense, this was a good game. East Carolina, they had a surprisingly good offense for much of the year, and I give them credit for a good season. Missouri beat Syracuse 28-20. Kind of a weird game where Syracuse attempted like 50 passes, I want to say. They had the ball for like 70% of the time. But Minnesota, we expected them to win this game because Syracuse dealing with opt-outs, the running back opts out, and they do win it for the Big Ten there. Houston beats Louisiana 23-16. Pretty boring game overall. I had Houston -7, and I was just happy to escape with a push because there were so many people saying there's no way Houston is covering. They do end up pushing on this. Very low-scoring game. Surprisingly low-scoring game. Southern Miss 38, Rice 24. I said Rice shouldn't even be in a bowl game. How about the running back for Southern Miss? I think Frank Gore's son sets the bowl game FBS record for rushing yards with like 330. Really, really cool moment there. Next, we've got Toledo beating Liberty by 2 points. You know, shout out to Toledo for having a good season, even though the second half of their year was not very good. They still win the MAC. They win a bowl game, But we got to be honest, Liberty is a complete corpse at this point with Hugh Freeze leaving. Buffalo beats Georgia Southern 23-21. We thought it was a lock. Georgia Southern, the situation, we loved them -3.5. You can't settle for field goals. Georgia Southern settled for 2 early field goals on long drives. That cost them in this game. Good for the MAC, good for Buffalo. Ohio beats Wyoming 30-27. I loved Wyoming because Ohio, with the backup quarterback, they had not been good. And it was looking like Wyoming was controlling this game. But listen, the MAC came to play this bowl season. They performed well, and this was a late game heroics by Ohio. That's why this is inside the top 20 for me. Tennessee beats Clemson 31-14. The first New Year's Six bowl on the list. So this is a very important bowl game. But Clemson's offense just really anemic in the red zone. They had like 500 yards of total offense, but only 14 points. Joe Milton did a great job not turning over the ball, and Tennessee wins, and they get a big bowl win there. Texas Tech beats Ole Miss 42-25. Really kind of a letdown season for Lane Kiffin, especially against the spread. He did not perform well. Texas Tech carrying a lot of momentum going into next season. I've seen a lot of people have some hype for Texas Tech for next year. Western Kentucky beats South Alabama. Guys, we knew it was going to happen. This was a blowout, and I said it from the beginning. If Western Kentucky has, their starting quarterback, they were going to win this game easily, and it was a domination. It was 28-0 early in the second quarter, and South Alabama, for them, they've had a good defense this year. But in this game, kind of a weird situation with this game happening at 9 o'clock at night. Fresno State beats Washington State. I apologize for the spelling there. 29-6. Guys, if I'm going to be honest, I forgot to rank this game, so I just had to throw it in at number 15. But I did say, guys, Fresno State, great team. It's such a shame the casual college football fan base doesn't know how good Fresno State could have been this year if they didn't deal with a massive quarterback injury. They could have won 11 games and probably been in a New Year's Six bowl, or at least made a really good bowl and been ranked throughout the season. Alabama beats Kansas State 45-20. Bama just way more talented overall than Kansas State. Bryce Young, the 5 passing touchdowns. They completely outclassed them. Brian Branch, 4 tackles for loss. Good season for Kansas State, but Bama, with Bryce Young not opting out, you knew it was going to be pretty tough for them. Penn State beats Utah 35-21. Overall, this game, a bit of a letdown. We were hoping for kind of a repeat or like a higher scoring game again, and Utah really got dominated. I mean, they were down 35-14 late in the fourth quarter. They scored a garbage time touchdown to make this game look closer. Penn State football is trending up. They're going to be inside the top 10 in the preseason polls. They are impressive, and they're coming for a Big Ten championship. Washington beats Texas 27-20. Good for Washington. They end the season on a high note. They get a lot of their team returning next year. I've seen them in a number of preseason top 15, top 10 polls for 2023. And then Texas, Bijan Robinson opting out. It's tough. I thought Quinn Ewers was actually pretty good in this game. He threw for like 350 yards, but they just couldn't generate the points overall. Moving on to the top 11, BYU beats SMU 24-23. Kind of a letdown in terms of we thought this game was going to be a huge shootout, and it wasn't, but it is a 1-point game with BYU winning there. Oregon beats North Carolina 28-27. Late game heroics by Bo Nix to come back in the final seconds, score the touchdown, and Oregon caps off a really good season. They were like 13-point favorites in this game. They had to come back and win it. And this is another game where the over-under was in the 70s, and we didn't even get a total over 60. But really good win for Oregon. North Carolina, you got to feel bad for them because they've had a tough second half of the year, and there's really no moral victories in bowl games. You either win or you lose, and they lost here. Boise State beats North Texas 35-32. Really fun game. I could never crack the whole North Texas thing. North Texas, when you think they're going to play horrible, they play well. After they play well, when you think they're going to play well, they play terrible. It's total opposite. Everyone going into this game thought North Texas was going to get run over. And Boise State, they've had a good year. They've got a great program. They win it late. North Texas covers the spread. That's a good game. Number 8, Iowa beats Kentucky. Guys, you're wondering, how would I have this inside my top 10? It's too perfect. I said the under 31. I said Iowa was going to cover. These are the games that Iowa wins. This is real college football. 21-0. The under 31. It was a lock. The Music City Bowl, Iowa football. It's amazing. It's what's great about college football. Next, we have oh my goodness. Pittsburgh beating UCLA. We were all in on UCLA to win this game big. I don't even know what to say about it. Good for Pittsburgh. They had a 2% chance to win late in the third quarter, according to ESPN FPI, and they make a crazy comeback with a backup quarterback and win 37-35 over UCLA. Notre Dame beats South Carolina 45-38. Really important win for Notre Dame and Marcus Freeman going into the offseason against an upstart South Carolina team who's been on a complete rampage, having back-to-back upsets. Notre Dame, even without their starting quarterback who was in the portal, they get the job done. So they've got momentum. They've got Sam Hartman. South Carolina puts up a really good fight, really fun game, a lot of scoring, especially in the second half. Fun bowl game overall. Moving inside of the top 5, we've got FSU beating Oklahoma 35-32. I think Oklahoma might be the best 6-7 team I've ever seen in my life. They're certainly really good. I saw Dylan Gabriel is coming back, and FSU, they're going to be great. I mean, the hype that they've gotten, this was a very important win for them. Yes, they didn't cover the 10-point spread, but it doesn't matter. Get your bowl win. They're getting so many players in the portal. They're going to be really good next year for sure. Arkansas beats Kansas in that epic double overtime, or might have been triple overtime, 55-53. Kansas storms back in the second half to tie it and send the game to overtime. And how about the roller coaster of emotions if you had Kansas plus 2.5? Pretty remarkable game and a really fun bowl game overall. Arkansas ends up winning. Tulane beats USC 46-45. Lincoln Riley he has to somehow solve that defense. Just such an issue for USC, especially the second half of the year on defense, and it rears its ugly head. Tulane comes back late and wins by 1 point. What a remarkable win for Tulane's program. This is why we love college football. Big win for Tulane. And then, guys, you've got number 2. I have to put both of the playoff games inside the top 2 because they were both amazing. I know people are going to say, TCU was up the entire game against Michigan. This was a game, I believe 39 points were scored in the third quarter alone or something like that. Michigan scored 39 points in the second half alone. Just absolutely crazy scoring. Really fun. Yes, TCU was up the entire game, but still, this was really good for the playoff. And then, of course, guys, number 1, it's Georgia 42, Ohio State 41. It is the Peach Bowl. Heartbreak for Ohio State. Amazing. The Buckeyes up 38-24 late in the third quarter. Georgia comes all the way back. They take a 1-point lead. Ohio State comes back. They try a field goal, and they miss it right as 2023 strikes. Epic game there. So, guys, those are my bowl games officially ranked after the bowl season happened. But that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description.